and AI just poured it in. Entire compiler. From OCaml to Rust, a 250,000-line brain transplant, and the patient woke up. Twice as fast.
The humans mostly supervised.
Meanwhile, Deno declared war on Electron, and Google's lawyers finally ran out of appeals. Debts came due this week. All of them. Let's get into it. It's July 6th, and this is the Decode. 3 stories. A deadish type checker resurrected in Rust, your next desktop app with 0 node modules. And at the end, a bill so big it has its own currency symbol. Stay for the bill. Quick history. Flow is Meta's type checker, the one that fought TypeScript for JavaScript's soul.
And lost so hard people forget it fought.
Well, it's back. Meta ported Flow's entire OCaml codebase to Rust, and since version 3.19, the binary on npm is the Rust one. You may already be running it. The numbers. Twice as fast. Across most stages, up to double in the heaviest type checking pass. But the real story is how a line-by-line mechanical port accelerated by AI. Not a rewrite, a translation. The type system as the spec, the test suite as the judge, the model as
a very fast intern who never sleeps and never unionizes.
Here's the stance. This is the actual headline of 2026 nobody's screaming about. If a compiler can be mechanically ported, every legacy codebase is now negotiable. Your bank's COBOL just felt a chill. And the karma? Flow lost the war, retreated to the mountains, and came back speaking Rust. Redemption arc. Deno 2.9 shipped an experimental command. Deno desktop. Pointed at your web app, it auto-detects. 9 frameworks. Next, Astro, Fresh, SvelteKit, the whole lineup, and bakes a self-contained native binary. No IPC circus like Electron.
In-process bindings like adults.
The catch, and there's always a catch, default builds use the operating system's WebU, so binaries land at
40 to 68 megabytes, which is small only in a universe Electron created.
Want pixel-identical rendering? You bundle Chromium, and you're back where you started. And Deno's own docs call it a prototype target. Stance, rooting for it. Dharma is on the side of fewer node modules. But Electron's real moat was never rendering. It's the boring stuff, code signing, auto-update, enterprise plumbing. You don't kill Electron with a smaller binary. You kill it with a better Tuesday afternoon deploy.
Meanwhile, your Slack app will still eat 2 gigs of RAM. Some traditions are sacred.
But the week's biggest number wasn't megabytes or milliseconds. It was euros. Europe's top court just rejected Google's final appeal. The 4.1 billion euro Android antitrust fine stands. The finding, Google used Android's market power to force search and Chrome onto every phone.
The crime of being the default.
After nearly a decade of appeals. No more appeals. Perspective, for 0.1 billion is roughly
2 weeks of Google's profit. The fine took 8 years. Android shipped a monopoly a year in the meantime. Justice at dial-up speed.
Quickfire round, because the money got weird this week. Startups raised a record. $510 billion. In half a year, most of it AI Anthropic is reportedly talking to. Samsung. About a custom chip. OpenAI is reportedly offering
equity to the US government.
And Meta wants to rent you its GPUs. The infrastructure is consolidating faster than the regulation that just took 8 years to collect 1 bill. Now home. While the world raised $500 billion, India's venture funding grew 21% this half year. Bhavan Turkia reportedly wrote himself a
$30 million seed check.
For Neo, an AI-native work platform, and UPI quietly processed 23 billion transactions in a single month. The largest real-time payment system on Earth. The West is renting GPUs. India built rails people actually use. We made a whole video on how UPI works, link in the description. The take, look at all 3 stories again, they're one story. AI ported the compiler. AI ate the $500 billion in funding. And the antitrust fight is really about who owns the default surface AI ships on. The debts that came due this week were all borrowed against the same future. The will doesn't care whose logo is on the invoice. Learn the fundamentals. The stack around them is now officially fungible. Trivia before you go. With this ruling, Europe's antitrust fines on Google total more than
8 billion euros.
Across 3 cases.
Still cheaper than buying TikTok. That's your week in tech.
A compiler reborn in Rust, a runtime gunning for Electron, and a decade-old bill finally paid. If this saved you 40 browser tabs, hit like. That's the algorithm's love language. Comment. Would you ship an AI-ported compiler to production? I read every one. Share this with a friend still maintaining a Flow codebase.
Both of them.
And subscribe. The Decode does the whole tech week every week in 5 minutes.
Verify everything, trust nothing.
And I'll see you in the next one.